Hey everybody. What's up? What's up? Hey Jen. Jen's always getting first prize here with the comment. Hey K Braze. Hey Ellie. Hey Rand. Hey Abra. Thank you again. So I don't know if you guys seen, hey Roberta. I don't know if you guys have seen my post about OSBI. They requested that Ivy, Brittany, Riley, Tiffany, and Michael's autopsies be sealed for 6 more months. So the only ones that are available to the public right now are Jesse and Holly. And some very, very nice person sent me Jesse and Holly's autopsy forms. So we are going to go over them. And just like a heads up, Jesse's isn't really all that spectacular. They didn't do an autopsy, they just did an exam on him. But there is, hey, Speculation Station, there is a lot of details for Holly's. So I guess we'll just do Jesse's first because his is nothing special. So we'll get over that first. And then I'll discuss like rigor mortis and like the hours of everything, and kind of we can piece together close to the time of death and stuff like that. Hey MK, what's up? Long time no see. All right, let me share my screen. This probably won't be that long. I wish the sun was like that here. It's been like cold in PA. It hasn't been like nice at all. And it's supposed to rain all week. I've been wearing sweatpants and sweatshirts for like the past. All right, I would say there was like a full like 2 weeks where I got to wear shorts, and then so far in the summer, and then since May all the way on, I've pretty much have worn at least long pants. It sucks. It's summertime. Like, let's get summertime going. I don't like that my June is getting wasted cold. I like it to be hot and I don't know. Yeah, as always, cold in Pennsylvania, but not really in June. In June, it's usually hot by now. Hey, Lori. Something funky's going on. I don't know why the weather's so bad, but I thought there was global warming. Clearly, it's not that warm. All right, so here's Jesse's. You just have the location and where the body was viewed. Description of the body. Okay, so Jesse was in complete rigor, which means when they got there, he was still, hey Stacy, he was still stiff. Like he was, from what it sounds like, I'm pretty sure complete rigor is like he was stiff when they got there. He's all stiff, which for rigor to complete, it takes about 8 to 10 hours, I believe. I have a little chart and I'll show you. It takes like 8 to 10 hours. And I believe it says the bodies were found at 3:23 p.m. Date 5/1. Hold on. Wait. Okay, so the body was viewed by the medical examiner. Location of death. Found. All right, so it was found at 3:23. So at 3:23, body viewed by. Are we going by? I guess we would go by the time their bodies were found, right? Not the autopsy, because when they're found, they immediately will put them in like a freezer, I'm sure. So I guess we're gonna go by when they're found. So 3:23, we'll say 10 hours. Hey, unseen thinkers, we'll go with 10 hours. Okay, it's 8. We'll start at 10. So. So like 5 a.m., I guess it would be about 10 hours from that would be about 3. It would be about 5 a.m., which seems strange to me because I would think, like in my mind, I thought he killed himself Sunday night, but it sounds like according to this, it would have been around Monday morning because he was still stiff and his body was found at 3:23. So let me see. And that's 10 hours. So 5. So either 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. Monday on the 1st. Right? I hate counting back hours, so if I get anything wrong, please someone correct me. But if it was found at 3:23 p.m. All right, so let me write this down so I don't forget. 5/1/2023. Hey, Tia. He was found at 3:23 p.m. and he had complete rigor and 8 to 10, which would, I think it's 8 to 10. Hold on, let me pull up my picture real quick. Or 12 hours. So I guess it's 8 to 12. So body is most rigid. So we'll go with 12. 8 to 12. So that would make more sense. 3 a.m. So we'll go with 3 a.m. Monday. That makes more sense to me. Like, I feel like it was probably super late, like into the night, like the middle of the night. Oh, I'll send you them too, Tia. I just, I was playing a video game, and I was at the movies, and I was playing a video game, and I meant to send it to you, but I haven't even got to yet. But I'll send them to you after the live. So, all right, the autopsy was done then. He had a intraoral gunshot wound. So I'm guessing that would be in his mouth. Let me double check that. Intraoral. Oh, yeah. So intraoral, yeah, it means you put it in his mouth. Ugh. I don't know if I'm. Entrance oval laceration of the hard palate. Mucosa, no discernible stipling, muzzle imprint. Path injuries of the mucosa, palatine bone, skull base. By the way, I haven't even read these yet, so if I'm sounding like I'm trying to figure this all out is because I haven't looked over it yet, which I probably should have, so I would have been prepared, but we're going through this together because, hey, Dennis. Hey, Thumb Thug. Hey, Eddie. Hey, Linda. So yeah, if I'm thinking out loud, it's because I haven't gone over this yet. Associated injuries, bilateral lower medial incisor fractures, mandible fracture, so his teeth, jaw fracture, exit cellulite laceration of the left parietal scalp, trajectory backward, upward, and leftward. So back and up and to the left, and his toxicology was negative. And I can share the toxicology report, but it's nothing fancy. You got your headphones in, falling asleep. Well, hopefully, if you need to sleep, my voice helps you go to sleep. Okay. Oh shoot. All right, here is this one. All right, so this is the toxicology. Material submitted blood, vitreous, and urine. So I guess they just checked the blood. And they didn't mark anything for the other ones. I don't know if that meant they checked them or not, if they checked them that way or not, but it says heart, blood, and undetected. Oh. Did someone give memberships? Oh, thank you, Eddie. All right. Let's move on to Holly's. I know. I still have a hard time believing it too. Hey, Jem. I don't know if I said hi to you or not, just in case I didn't. And thank you again, Eddie. Thank you. And yeah, I can't believe there was no drugs in the system either. It just doesn't make sense to me. There were so many drugs on the property, and it's like, I don't get it. I just do not get it. Okay. So same thing with Holly, the same time they were found. Now hers, she was in passing of rigor. Now, from what I've read, when you're in passing of rigor, that's usually at around when you've passed rigor. Okay, so it's in passing. So she's not completely passed. Passed would be at like 36 hours. So, but she seemed, from what I've heard, it seems that she was pretty far along in the passing. Her eyes and jaw, I don't know what else I think it's for like anywhere between 24 and 36 hour. Hold on, let me look. I don't want to say anything wrong, so I just want to double check. Okay, so rigor begins to relax, like the small muscles, around 15 hours. And then by 36 hours, they totally disappear. So I guess we could do like an approximate, like I would say probably between like 20 and 36 hours. No. So, all right, rigor. All right, it's kind of confusing, but this is what happens. Rigor starts setting in pretty quickly. it can start setting in after 2 hours. And then at about 12 hours, the body is most rigid. So, like, at around 12 hours, your body is pretty much completely all stiff at that point. Then at about 15 hours, the rigor begins to relax. So then, like, your eyelids, if they were up, they'll start to fall. Your jaw, if it's tight, it'll relax. If your arms are tight, they'll relax. So your muscles will start relaxing after 15 hours. And then by 36 hours after death, the stiffness will have completely disappeared. So there'll be no more stiffness. So Holly was in passing, which means she was after it began to relax. It was after that, but it was before her whole body had completely relaxed. So she was probably around like 24 to 30 hours. Like that's, I would say probably about 24, 30 hours. That's my guesstimation. But it really could be between 15 and 36. Yeah, I thought, like, I've always thought that they were gone by Friday, just because Michael was found in his track uniform and he didn't make it to track practice that day. And it just didn't make, like, it was just hard for me to imagine that he would be able to handle all them people at one time, unless, he restrained them for quite a while. But I don't know what to make of it. So let's just say we'll say around 20 to 30 hours. We'll go in the middle, because, like, we know that her eyelids had came down, her jaw had relaxed. So, like, seems like her upper body was probably relaxed. So we could go between, like, or we could just say like 24 hours, 24 to 30 hours. So so this is what's shocking to me, is if she was found at 3:23 on Monday, her time of death would be around Sunday afternoon. So it'd be around 24 hours, which is just so weird to me. So 4:30 would be, yeah, it would be like Sunday afternoon. Sunday afternoon, if it was 24. Okay, so we'll go, if it's 24 hours, it'd be Sunday afternoon. And 36 would be Sunday morning, but I wouldn't say she was quite at 36 yet, because like, or 36 would be like early Sunday morning at like 3 a.m., which in my mind, early Sunday morning would make more sense to me, but it doesn't sound like that. So I don't know. So I guess we could say like between like maybe 11 a.m. and 3:30. I don't know. I mean, this is just like a total guess. It could be a big, it could be a big time frame because of the hours. H-Town, that's what I always thought. I just never imagined, like, I'm shocked that it would be Sunday, because it didn't feel like that to me. Yeah. temp and conditions cause different times of decomp too. It was like 70 that day. So it wasn't too hot. Like it wasn't the evening low. Let me see. I looked up like the day on Monday and that was like 70. But hold on. Let's see what the evening low was. So the low was 48 and the high was 72. And that's on the 30th. 4:30. And then let's see the 29th. Just check it out. 29th was like the same thing. Let me double check. Unless that was like an average. But it's saying detailed weather. That's what I want. April 30th. Okay. April 30th was 68. High, low 50. The 29th was 63, low 52. And the first was 64 and the low 45. So I would say the weather was pretty, I don't know if it would slow. So the colder it is, the slower it slows the process. So maybe during the night it could have slowed the process a little bit. But I feel like the day temperatures weren't hot enough to like speed it up. You know what I mean? I would have to like Google how low, like specifically how low of temperatures would. Well, I like, in my opinion, I don't think she was involved in any of the murders. I think she was like, I just can't see that at all. Like, I think if anything, they were just all victims of him, and possibly maybe he had that if they died later, like on Sunday, maybe he had restrained them for like a day or two and then just killed them all at one time, you know? I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I think, like, I don't think Holly was like completely innocent and didn't know anything about Jesse. And I think, you know, she knew what she was getting into and she probably knew some stuff about him, but like, I don't think she was involved in the murders. That's just my opinion. But I don't think she was stupid when it came to Jesse. Like, I think, you know, she knew what he had done and maybe thought that he could change or something. I don't know, but and if he was doing shady stuff, you know, she could have known, you know what I mean? Like, it would be hard, I think, for somebody to completely hide if they were doing something, you know, like illegal or bad or whatever from their wife. But I don't think she would ever kill her kids or anything like that, you know. Hey, Lava Gamer. Yeah. Oh, yeah. In Florida would be. Yeah, I don't think it would accelerate the process for sure. Or yeah, maybe, you know, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't think she was as naive. I don't think she was naive, okay? That's what I'm saying. But I don't think she would have killed her kids. Yeah, there was things. Yeah, there was restraints on the wall. There was restraints on the kitchen counter. that seem fairly new. I mean, the kitchen counter ones did. He had bought locks and chains too. Oh, that's okay. I can tell it's you. We know the last for sure contact night of his victim was on Snapchat with the girl's mom on Saturday night. Okay. Well, Lava Gamer, here's my thing. Friday, right? Jen, Holly's mom, gets a text saying, "We dropped all our phones in a mud puddle and you won't be able to get in touch with us." I find that very hard to believe that happened, considering Jesse had all of the phones hidden in a top shelf of a cabinet. So I feel like Jesse possibly took their phones from them and hid them on Friday. And Michael was found in his track uniform, and he had track practice on Friday and never made it. And Tiffany also had cheer tryouts, and she didn't make it. But we know Tiffany was live on Saturday because she was seen at Brahms with Brittany and Ivy and Jesse. But here's the thing. If Jesse took everyone's phones, because Ivy was there since Friday, could it have been Jesse messaging Ivy's parents on Snapchat, pretending to be Ivy? And I know they said they were getting selfies, but he could easily go into her photos and send a photo that she had taken at some point with Tiffany or something and act like it was a current photo. I mean, we know he was calling them all day Sunday, buying himself time, and potentially texting Ivy's parents on Sunday too from Ivy's phone because they said it didn't sound like her. Yeah, exactly, D-Lynn. She definitely made some bad decisions, and they cost her. And she's accountable for her life and her children's life because she was knowledgeable about what he had done before, and like I said, I doubt she was super naive to whatever Jesse was doing, but I don't think she would ever murder her kids. And I think she loved her kids. I just think she made stupid decisions. Oh, hey, Kayla. Well, I hope you had fun. I would say home from school to change before track practice. Lava. Oh, I think so too. Speculation station. Yeah, exactly. But I don't think the mud thing ever happened. I think that was his excuse so that they didn't question him about why he hid the phones. And you know what? At first I thought maybe he was hiding the truck from his mom because she supposedly came over there on Sunday. Now, all right, so LaDonna had supposedly said that she went over there Sunday to drop off a quilt that she made Holly. And that she didn't see anyone there. So I would imagine that was probably around Sunday afternoon. So I feel like at least if they were killed on Sunday, it would have been earlier Sunday. But at first I thought maybe because he told the landlord that he wanted to hide his car from a family member. And I thought, well, maybe he was trying to hide his car from LaDonna and then say, oh, well, Holly took the car. But here's why I've changed my mind on that. Holly's car was there in the driveway with her purse in the seat. So I don't think he would be hiding it for Holly. In my opinion, he may have hidden the truck because he was supposed to be in McAllister swimming, and he was trying to hide the truck from Ivy's family probably, so they would think that he wasn't there, so they wouldn't show up at his house. Yeah, that's a good question, Lynn. Like, where was she killed to? She was dragged. There's drag marks. Arkansas. Oh, my friend lives in Arkansas. Yeah. Yeah, this is the case. But yeah, I just this confuses me even more. Like, because I had a thing all mapped out in my head, and now everything, oh, my timeline's all screwed up now. But yeah, so Jesse most likely dead at 3 a.m. early Monday morning, and Holly, I'm gonna go with probably early Sunday, because I just don't think he would wait till the afternoon. He would need some time. If LaDonna went over there on Sunday, he would need some time to move them and hide them, you know? So, um, I hope so, Lava Gamer. I think they will. I mean, I think OSBI will do all that. I think they'll do their due diligence. And I'm kind of glad, because they requested that Ivy, Brittany, Riley, Michael, and Tiffany's autopsy be sealed for 6 more months because they're still investigating, which I definitely think, they're working hard on it, because they made it clear they're still investigating. So I don't know what to think about this time of death. I'm still pretty shocked about it, but the only thing I can think of is, because I would imagine it would be hard to control or handle 6 people at one time by yourself. So I would imagine he would have to have some of them restrained, or I don't even know. And why would they miss practice that day? Why would Tiffany miss cheer on Friday if things didn't start unfolding Friday? But then my other question is, if he took them to go get ice cream on Saturday and something had already happened at the house, I would imagine Tiffany and Ivy would seem pretty distressed considering they were there. But I don't know what was seen at Brahms, but I'm curious if they looked relaxed or normal, or if they look stressed. Like, I'm curious. Yeah, there wasn't any blood in the home, but they weren't killed in the home, that's for sure. Holly's body was definitely moved. So, okay. So yeah, she was in passing, which I'm just gonna go with Sunday morning. I'm just gonna go with Sunday morning. Sunday morning to Sunday afternoon. So, is bilateral, would that be like bilateral arm abrasions? Would that be like long ways, or like perpendicular to your arm, or like run parallel with your arm? Let me see. Or does bilateral just mean both arms? Because this is what's confusing to me. Some people have said that bilateral abrasions abrasions of bilateral arms and legs. Some people have said that's consistent with dragging. I guess I have to read the notes to see. But I was wondering if it just means that maybe it was restraint marks on the arms and legs. Well, I guess when we get to the notes, we'll find out. It'll be more specific. All right. Let me go to the next one. Yeah, both sides. Okay, I figured that. I did say bilateral. I meant like, does it mean bilateral on your arm or like bilateral as in like both arms? But it means both sides. So I was just making sure I don't want to like say anything wrong. So that's what I was asking. All right, so here is the second page. It meant both arms and legs. Yeah, that's what it meant. I looked it up to double check. It means like there was abrasions on both arms and both legs. But I guess in the notes they'll specify. Well, they don't here, but there's more detailed notes later. So pathological diagnoses, gunshot wounds to the head, entrance left forehead. Okay, so left forehead, rightward, upward, and forward. So is he like, maybe he was like holding it like on an angle on her head? Oh, she's in chat right now, Lynn. Who's asking how you were, Lynn? How you're doing? Okay, both these. All right. Yep. Yeah, I'm. You would think I'm better with medical terms because I was a CNA for so many years, but I'm not because I didn't have to write reports and stuff. So stuff like that is not my strong suit. Yeah, right-handed. So entrance left forehead, direction up. So I'm thinking maybe he like held it on the left side of her forehead a little bit, like maybe on an angle because he's right-handed. You know what I mean? Like if she was in front of him and he was holding it forward, his arm would, if he was right-handed, he would kind of like be to the left a little bit. Hey, butterfly kisses. And upward. I don't know if it's just how he's holding the gun or is he shorter than her? Track via the skin, soft tissue, skull, brain, skull, soft tissue, skin to exit the upper forehead. All right, and then there's B, which is the left temporal scalp. So that would be like over by your temple. Left temporal scalp. Rightward, downward, and backward? How would it be backward? Maybe if she was... This is very confusing. I guess we'd have to figure out which one is the first one. Right temporal scalp. So I'm guessing there's two forewords. So I'm guessing one of the forewords was the initial one. Maybe another one while she was falling. And then the backward one would be after she fell. Okay, so I'm going to go with B as the first one because B had powdered soot at the entrance wound margin and within wound, meaning that he had it pressed up against her head or very close. But I'm pretty sure the notes say that it was pressed up against her head. So I'm going to go with B being the first one. So left temporal scalp. This is so was he behind, like on the side of her towards the back? And like holding it to her head? Unless after she fell, he like held it to her head and did it. She's down from him on the ground on knees, possibly. So then how do you get the one that's upward and forward on the top of her forehead? All right, here's my problem. If B is the first one, where it's rightward, downward, and backward, then how would he shoot another one rightward, upward, and forward if she's already falling? No, I get that, Lava Gamer, but I'm saying B couldn't be the first one. Couldn't be the first. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, all right. Say B's the first one. If it was right, if it's the left temporal scalp, so he's on the side by her left temple, right? He's probably a little bit behind her temple because it's to the right. So he's like right hand. It's a little bit to the right, and it's downward because she might be lower than him, and it's backward because he's a little bit like behind her ear, right? But here's the problem: is A is through her forehead in the front. If he's shooting her from a little bit behind in the side, he would have had to walk in the front, put the gun all the way down on the ground next to her head, and then shoot upwards. It doesn't make sense. You get what I'm saying? Like, it would be a real awkward position, I feel like, to get A after B. Maybe he shot her from afar at first, and it hit her left forehead up really high, and she wasn't dead yet. Then maybe she fell a little bit. Forward. Like, just went down a little bit, and then he went from the back. No, that wouldn't make sense either, because the other one is from the right temporal scalp. Yeah, A and C exited the body, but B didn't. But you would think could have picked her up, maybe. So B stayed in her skull, but you would think the first, if somebody's putting like a gun to your head, right? You would think that's the first one. He's holding it to her head, and he doesn't. But it just doesn't make sense for the other ones. Because then she would immediately start falling, and then he would have to get one on the right and one on the left. Right temporal scalp. Leftward, downward. Skull, brain, skull. To exit the right forehead. So this one may have just, all right, so I'm going to go with this. C was first. It went through the temple and barely, it sounds like it just hit the temple and then came out the front of the forehead and barely like scraped her head. Then I'm going to say B, like he got close, put it up to her, or maybe he shot her again, A, and then when she was already down on the ground, he went and put the gun to her head and shot her again to make sure she was dead. Yeah, but it would be hard to pick her up from her shirt. She wasn't like small. He's a smaller guy. I think C is the first one, and it didn't really do that much damage. I think he may have, like missed and then realized it didn't really do that much damage because that was on the opposite side of her head. And then maybe she tried to run or something, and then she turned, and then he shot her in the left forehead, and then she fell, and then maybe the last one, she's probably still gurgling because I know she had blood on her lungs, and I'm assuming the last one would have been when he held the gun to her head to make sure, she was, because at that point, if she's still alive, he's going to make sure he gets the right shot to make sure that she's dying. So I'm going to go with C, A, and then B. Even though you would think putting it to her head, that would be the first one, it doesn't make sense to me because it sounds like it would be really awkward positions the rest of the way. If she's dead already. Well, she wasn't dead already because, all right, sounded like he shot her and it grazed the side of her head, right? Then she tried to run and her head turned to the left side, like she tries to run or get away and turns, and now she's on his other side. And he shoots her again, hits her. That's why it's from the back and the left because she's turning away from him, trying to get away. Or no, that's the last one now. So direction upward and forward. Yeah, so upward it would be she turned around, it's upward and forward. And then the last one, I think the only way it would make sense would be C, A, and B. Or yeah, maybe the gun knocked her head around. But C sounds like it just grazed because look, it went in the right temporal scalp and then it came out the right forehead. So there's really if you went in the right temple and came out the right forehead, you're just getting the corner of her head. I know, right, Aaron? So I think C was like a total miss. And then I think she tried to move. So, it's my right. If she turned away from him and tried to turn around, then that would be how he shot her the second time, upward and forward. Or if she looked at him, upward and forward, and then she fell, and then she was choking on her blood because it does say that she had blood in her lungs, and then I think he held it to her head and made sure she was dead on the last time. That's what I'm going to go with, C-A-B. That's just the only one. Yeah, but the temporal, I looked up the temporal scalp, and it's more like the side. Yeah, but it's like temporal is the front of the skull entrance. When I looked up all right, so I looked up right temporal scalp or left temporal scalp, and it showed me, I'll show you the picture it showed me for the left temporal scalp. So, right temporal scalp. Temporal bone is right around your ear. Cradle bone, temporal bone, squamous. Let me see. So temporal will be around your ear. So we shot her. Here, I'll show this real quick so you guys have an idea. This is so damn confusing. I'm not good at gunshot reenacting, okay? But Oh, it's a whole section. The parietal is like the back. Hold on, I'll show you what. So like temporal is like the side here. The frontal forehead is here. Parietal is like the top, and the occipital in the back. So one got stuck in the occipital. So the first one went in her right, like this part, and through her forehead. So like the side of her head went through. So the first one would have went through here and out her right forehead. So that may have not done enough damage to like hurt her because it was like on the side. You know what I mean? Look at the top view. Do they have a top view here? Like a front view? Tia, what's your opinion on this? All right. Hold on. Oh, I can't show. The pink part? On which one? I mean, how she describes it, she said the right temporal. So I'm going to go with over here through the right forehead. I think that's the first. Looking at the skull from above. All right, hold on. Top. This is from the top, the occipital. I don't see any that say temporal on top, though. Frontal. The only thing I see that says temporal is the side. 6 regions on the scalp. Yeah, so the temporal would be pretty much there. Like where I said, on the side by the ear, and then it comes through the front. So she was hit. This is what I think. The first one was from the back, and it went through here and came here. And I don't think that did that much damage because it was on the side. All right, hold on. Let me get the... All right, Tia, tell me what you think, because this has got me very confused. All right, so these are the 3 gunshot wounds. The first one was the left forehead. So it came through the left forehead, rightward. So I'm guessing he was right hand, pointing. So it's a little bit rightward, upward, and forward. Powder stippling of the left face and scalp. So does that mean it was close? Direction, upper, rightward, forward. Okay, so left forehead. And then the second one is the left temporal scalp, which would have went through the left side of the head rightward, downward, and backward, and the gun was pressed on the head. Oh, maybe pointing backward. Okay. And then this one came in the right temple, leftward, downward, and forward, and exited the right forehead. So the one had to have leftward. It just sounds so weird if it went. How? I guess. Oh, okay, maybe. And it came out the right forehead. I feel like that had to be the first one. I don't feel like the one up against her head could be the first one because it just. How would they get to the? If he shot her from the left side as the first one, how would he shoot her from the right side after she's falling already? Yeah, but if he shot her, if he shot her at first on the left, he would have to go all the way to the other side to get her on the right. And there was another one on the left forehead. So I was thinking maybe he shot her from afar at the right temple and it came out the forehead from like behind, right? And that really didn't do much damage. And maybe she like turned around to get away and then he shot her in the left forehead. And then I feel like then after she fell, he held the gun because she was choking on her blood. So she was still alive. So maybe when he heard her choking on her blood, he went over and put the gun up to her head and shot her. Unless she spun, maybe, but then if she spun, he would have had to be like, bam, like, if she spun, how, well, if he did it, okay, so maybe he did the first one up against her head, and then she spun, and he did the right, and then she was laying flat, and he shot her in the forehead from far away? Maybe. I mean, I guess he could have done this one when she was on the ground. Oh, that could make sense. Yeah, in rapid succession, maybe. Like, held it against their head first. Like, I feel like somebody would normally, the one holding against their head first would be the one, especially in this situation. But maybe she did spin, and then he shot her again, before she fell and hit the right, and then when she was on the ground, he shot her through the forehead. Yeah, like standing over her, yeah. I don't mean like far away. I just mean like far away enough where there wasn't he wasn't pressing up against her, but it had to be pretty close because there was stippling of the left face and scalp. So for that one, so I'm guessing this was maybe B was the first, then C was because she spun when she was falling, and then A would have been like standing above her, but fairly close in the front of her head because she was choking on blood. I think it was a 9mm. Yeah, that could be it. That could be it. Too close. Yeah, it's a weird. It would have to be like falling. It's just a weird like how it's on opposite sides. That's what had me confused. But I guess the left forehead could be the last one. That would make sense. All right. Moving on, because I hate that kind of part. I am not good at that at all. Let's see. This is the next one. feel like it was the last one was the up against. A 5-minute interval. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know how he would pull off. I mean, she was choking on her. I don't know how there would have been a 5-minute interval because I feel like he would have had to hit her while she was spinning, or else it would be like an odd. Yeah, we do need a team meeting to look over this. I should have went through all this before here because I'm gonna be here for an hour, just thinking of every scenario possible. Yeah, we need a web board with all them little red strings, I don't think it does, but we'll see. I don't think they specify which one was the death shot now. All right, so 35-year-old female found deceased with multiple gunshot wounds. I think the only reason that she had 3 was because she was making a gurgling noise and was still alive because she had blood in her lungs, and that's why he shot her an extra time. Bodies identified by fingerprint comparison, digital photographs, and radiographs of deceased are taken. Postmortem examination of Holly is performed at the Office of Chief Medical Examiner on 5/3/2023, commencing at 8:26 hours. Clothing and personal effects: black boots, bilateral feet, black pants, black sweatshirt, a white shirt, a black shirt. Jeez. White metal ring ×2 of her left fourth finger. White metal ring ×1 of right fourth finger. So, I'm wondering if maybe she had a tank top under her shirt instead of a bra. You know what I mean? And maybe that's why it says 2 shirts. Crawling? What do you think? I don't think if the first shot was him holding the gun against her head, I do not think that she was crawling away at all because there'd be no way. I think what happened was she just went down and then she was gurgling the blood and making the noise, you know what I mean? And then he heard that and was like, oh, she's still alive, She had phentermine, which is an upper, a weight loss drug. It actually could cause a false positive for amphetamines. Oh, that's okay. How do I say it? Thingamatorium? That's okay. Yeah, I was thinking a tank or a cami, and then the shirt, and then a sweatshirt. Well, sometimes I guess it depends what time this was too, because I don't know, what kind of outfit you were wearing, if she just got out of bed or whatever about the underwear. I don't know. But yeah, they didn't say anything about underwear. Collections: a scalp hair sample, pubic hair sample, and combings, oral swab, vaginal swab, deep and superficial, rectal swab, fingernail swabs of left and right hands, a blood DNA card, and all clothing and personal effects were procured and introduced as evidence. phentermine or phentermine? Phentermine and phenamine. I don't know. Oh, and she had Celexa. That's like depression medicine. Celexa and phentermine. Phentermine are these like they almost look like mints. They're like little white pills with like blue spots on them, and they're kind of like taking like a caffeine pill or something, but a little bit more strong. Yeah, maybe did she smoke cigarettes, Lynn? Like I wonder if like maybe she went out to smoke a cigarette or something and just like how some people just like throw stuff on to go outside. But then like what did he just catch her running outside and like, ha, you're smoking a cigarette, let me get you now. Like, I don't know, that just seems weird to me. I feel like he would like lead them out, or make them all go out together. Maybe she did get dressed in a hurry for something, but then just kept the outfit like that. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me about the drugs. Like, was somebody else over there using drugs? Like, why was there all those drugs in the house if they don't have drugs in their system? That's what I wear daily. I mean, it depends what kind of boots they are too. If they're like Ugg boots, sometimes if I like have to run outside or like run in my car, and when I smoked, I don't smoke anymore, but when I used to smoke, if I would go smoke a cigarette, sometimes I would just slide. I wouldn't put socks on and put on like those Ugg boots because they're like slippers inside. But eventually your feet would get really hot and sweaty and gross. But if you're just like running out, so I guess it depends what kind of boots she had on, really. But if they were like legit boots, then that's weird because your feet would get all like probably blistered without wearing socks and boots. I would think they're probably like Ugg boots. That's just my guess because I can't imagine anyone putting on like actual boots without socks. Or that's a good point. You are too mean. If he was forcing somebody else outside and she was trying to protect them and like trying to stop Jesse and throwing on clothes to run outside, but if somebody was like forcing my kid out, I'd probably run outside naked, to be honest. Like somebody's like forcing my kid outside with a gun or something, putting clothes on wouldn't even be, I wouldn't even think about it, I don't know. It doesn't, it's so confusing. Like everything that I had mapped out in my mind has totally been like ruined now after seeing this autopsy. I have to like rethink my entire timeline, and none of this makes sense. Did she smoke weed though, Holly? Maybe didn't she have like a weed card? Because if she smoked weed, that would be a reason to go outside. But they didn't test for marijuana. The autopsy said. I'm almost positive they didn't test for marijuana. They tested for everything but marijuana. Unless it, like she was using it like a tank top as like a bra, and they can like a cami, and they considered that a shirt. No, he had no drugs in his system at all. That's what's crazy, because there was literally like meth in the house, like set up as if they were like, there was like literally meth in the house set up as if people were doing meth. So, like, if they weren't doing it, who was? And if she did smoke weed, that would be a reason to go outside and smoke. So, I don't know. They didn't test for weed. Is it legal in Oklahoma? Maybe that's why. I don't know. But you would think they would test for it anyway. But I'm almost positive they didn't test for weed, because I remember the podcast I listened to last night, they were complaining about it because, like, why wouldn't you test for THC? I mean, with all the stuff in the house, especially like the THC stuff, why would you not test for it? It makes no sense. But even if it's legal, they still should have tested for it. We only have medical in Oklahoma. Okay. Yeah. A lot of people wear a cami instead of a bra at home. It's weird that they labeled it like 2 shirts, but maybe they maybe it's, I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of, honestly. I stepped on a loaded syringe. There was a lot of drugs, but I didn't see marijuana, only the gummy. Oh, so, huh. Yeah, so maybe she wasn't. Then there had, yeah. That is strange then. And why was her purse in her car? That's strange too. I don't know. Eddie, we're all lost, okay? Yeah, I know, Risk. I don't know. I don't know why they didn't do it. All right. Let's see. All right, here's where the notes start. Like, the more I read, the more confused I am. I don't know. He didn't have any drugs in his system, Tia. None. Zero. Zip. And Holly only had phentermine, which is a prescribed weight loss drug, and Celexa. Neither of them had any hard drugs in their system, which just blows my mind, considering there was like literally meth on a plate in there. So it makes me kind of wonder, like, was there somebody else at the house, like, doing meth with them, or doing meth there? Could his brother have came over? Was it his brother's out of jail, right? I know his case got dismissed, but is he in like a mental hospital, or is he out? Could Cody have been over there? Because we know Cody's been caught doing meth before. Could Cody have went over and helped him? I mean, we don't know it was meth, but it sure looked like meth. I don't know what else it would be. Hi, babe. Well, the landlord, yeah, I've heard. I've heard some stuff about him and that, but I was wondering the same. So I've seen a couple articles that said none of them had anything in their system, but then I've heard later that Brittany had, I think, and I could be wrong, marijuana and alcohol in her system. But I feel like when I remember reading it and being like, you know, was she like drinking and smoking before or something? But I'm almost like, I could be wrong, but from what I remember, I think she had marijuana and alcohol. But if I'm wrong, somebody correct me. But I think that's what I heard. Oh, Kayla, I don't know. Maybe. Where am I? Yeah, somebody was definitely doing, loaded. There was literally loaded syringes. What looked like to be, like, I mean, it looked like there was like a little perfume top or something that looked like they were using that to crush meth. And it looked like meth on this little plate. Like, I'm just blown. Oh yeah, that's it. That's a good point. All right, so it says the body is sealed in a blue bag with a lock tag intact. The left and right hands are covered with tan paper bags, secured with clear tape. The body is that of an unembalmed, well-developed, well-nourished female, appearing consistent with the recorded age of 35 years. The body weight is measured at 136 pounds. The body length is measured at 63 inches. The state of preservation is good in this unembalmed body. Rigor mortis has passed in the arms. Okay. So this is big. Rigor mortis passed in the arms, legs, and jaw, which means it was almost done. So her time of death was definitely closer to 36 hours then. I thought it was only to the jaw, but that's everything but her toes. So that would be at almost 36 hours. So her time of death would be more like Sunday at 3:30 a.m. Sunday. That makes more sense to me than like Saturday night into Sunday at 3:30 a.m. Yeah. So that's closer to 36 then. If she's already in the legs, that's about 36 hours. All that would be left was her toes, really. So that her time of death would be Saturday night into Sunday at like 3:30 a.m. Well, that explains a lot. So Jesse would be around 3 a.m. Monday morning, and hers would be 3:30 a.m. Monday morning, and hers would be 3:30 a.m. Sunday morning. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense to me too, because I was like, no way, it's Sunday afternoon. That just doesn't add up. All right, where are we? Lividity is noted in the left posterior torso and left lateral leg. So is she more like on her side? Was she on her side? Wouldn't that mean she was laying on her like left? That'd be posterior torso. Hold on. Her back, right? Posterior would be like her back. I think. Yeah. So posterior would be her back. So the lividity was on her back. She was like more laying on her left, maybe on her side, on her left side a little bit, and her right side was up, like, you know what I mean? That's how I. Oh, thank you, Lynn. All right. The chest and back are symmetrical with normal conformation. The neck is symmetrical without masses or unusual mobility. Both upper and lower extremities are symmetrical throughout. The head and neck and shoulders are not congested. There is no peripheral edema present. Personal hygiene is good. No unusual odor is detected as the body is examined. The scalp hair is brown and long in length, represents apparent natural color. There is vegetation and brain matter noted within the hair. The body hair is of a normal female distribution. The pupils are round, regular, equal, and measure 4 millimeters bilaterally. The sclerae, is that how you say it, are normal in color. Bilateral periorbital ecchymosis or ecchymosis is known. I have no idea what that means. Something with her eye, I guess. The conjunctival surfaces are not remarkable. The irids are brown in color. The teeth are in fair state of repair. The gums are normal in appearance. The oral cavity is normal. There are no injuries to the lip or tongue. The nose is symmetrical and air passages are open. External ears are normal in appearance without injury. Oh, so he didn't hit her ear at all. Her breasts are normal. The skin reveals tattoo designs on the chest, right lower abdomen, back left arm, and right leg. And there is a 2 centimeter scar of the umbilicus. So I'm not sure if the abrasions on her arms and leg were consistent with being dragged or restrained. But see you, MK. Good night. Yeah, I would like to know too, Lynn, because I just... Alright, so gunshot wounds to a head. There is a gunshot entrance wound of the left forehead. The wound is located 1.9 centimeters left of the anterior midline and 7.5 centimeters from the top of the head. The hole measures 1 inch by 0.9 centimeters and is irregularly shaped. There is no powder soot on the skin surface, which is related to this wound. Powder stippling is identified on the skin surface as involved the left forehead, left temple, left cheek, left nose, and left chin, and is characterized by punctate abrasions involving a 15 centimeter 15 centimeter vertical and 11 centimeter horizontal area. What is punctate abrasions? Hold on. Punctate abrasions on the skin caused by impact from gunpowder that is either wholly or partially unburned. So I guess that's from the gun being fairly close to her. The direction of the wound is rightward, upward, and forward. That would make sense if she was laying on the ground. So this one is probably the one from it, like we said. The projectile passed via the skin, soft tissue, skull, brain, skull, soft tissue, skin to exit the upper forehead. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like he shot her from standing above her. There is a gunshot exit wound of the upper forehead. The wound is located of anterior midline and 2 centimeters from the top of the head. This is pretty far up on the top of the head. Two inches would be... Yeah, it's pretty far up. It's like the top of the forehead. Okay. Alright, so this is B. There is a gunshot wound of the left temporal scalp. So this is the one with the gun pressed up against her head, which we believe is the first one. The hole measures 4 by 3 centimeter, 0.4 by 0.3 centimeters and is round shaped. There is a 0.3 centimeter abrasion concentrically around this wound. There are 3 circular abrasions at 3 and 6 o'clock margin of this wound. So there's an imprint of a gun, it sounds like. There's apparent powder soot at the wound margins, and within the wound, no powder stippling is identified. The direction of the wound is rightward, downward, and backward. Sounds like she was probably on her knees then, right? Like you would think, because if he's pointing down into the right and backward, it's like he's standing kind of in the front of her, but to the side and holding the gun pressing the gun against her head, and shoots back. Sounds like she was lower than him. If that doesn't sound right, let me know. But I would think she was probably lower than him. That's what it sounds like to me, that she was like on her knees or something. She's only 5'3". Yeah, how tall was he? But I feel like he would probably be extending his arm out, you know what I mean, for it to be like backward like that. If he was like had it bent, I don't know if it would go back like. I mean, I guess he could, but I feel like it would probably make more sense if. And that's not, if he was 5'6", that's not that much taller. Where he would have to hold his. All right, say he's 5'6" and she's 5'3". He would still have to like hold his arm up pretty high in the air to get it at that position. Like she would have to be lower than him, like on her knees or something. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, imagine someone's like 2 or 3 inches shorter than you. To get it on the left temple, you would have to hold your arm up pretty high, like where your shoulder would be at your ear. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like she was probably lower than him. I know. I just think to get that, like that position, it would be an awkward way to hold your arm. It's a sauna there, KK. Oh, I'm jealous. All right, so it passed. So he went from the left temple down to the occipital bone. So that's a pretty steep angle. She had to be a lot lower. Oh no, Lexi, I'm sorry. Hopefully you didn't get it. Like it didn't mess up any like your home or anything. But that's a really steep angle to go from the temple to the occipital bone. The occipital bone is at the bottom back of your skull where it meets the neck. You know what I'm saying? So like he would have to hold his arm up really high to get that angle. So she must have been like on her knees below him. Sorry, this is probably triggering to some people, so I probably should have said that before I started saying all that stuff. And I apologize, but well, I really think this whole report is probably triggering because it's an autopsy report and it talks about stuff, but let me just say it just in case. I don't know. I mean, he had a pair of handcuffs. He had a bunch of chains and locks too. So, and he definitely had, unless he had people restrained and took them one out at a time, you know. That's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, but if she had her head down, it wouldn't have came out of the occipital bone, Ellie. Like if she was holding her head down from that angle, because all right. So the thing says it's rightward and downward. If she was holding her head down, it would have been more like forward to get that angle. I feel like she would have, like, to get it to come out of the occipital bone, if she had her head down, I'm trying to think. Like, it sounds like it was on a pretty, I mean, I guess, well, let me see if they mention. So 7.4 centimeters from the top of the head. And then I gotta see where the occipital one is. Because if she put her head down, it would like raise the occipital bone up, and the thing would have been more like straight. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh! By a block. All right. So where was I? There is internal revealing of the left temporal bone at the entrance wound defect. I don't know what that means. Oh, that one sounds like it just, like, because this is the one pressed up against that it broke all of her, like, skull bones. All right, so then this one, the only thing for C, the only thing I could think of is because it sounds like she went down on her side a little bit. Okay, Tia. When she went down, her head probably turned, and he just got it as she was going down. Unless she was like on her side, and then he shot the side, and then walked to the front and shot the front. I don't know. But the wound is this one is located 14 centimeters right of the anterior midline and 2.3 centimeters from the top of the head. That's pretty high. This was probably as she went down, because it sounds like it was like one that was very crappy aiming and just like skimmed it. There are abrasions surrounding the wound, which range in size from. So I'm wondering if the abrasions are like the bullet scraping. Did it not go that deep at all? There's no soot or powder stippling identified, which is related to the wound, so it had to move further away. The direction of the wound is leftward, downward, and forward. Yeah, so it sounds like as her head was spinning, as she was going down on her side probably, and her head was turning. It's the only thing I can think of. There's a gunshot exit wound of the right forehead. Yeah, and from the sound of it, she was she had lividity on her left side, so she would have been, her right side would have been up. Yeah, Joe said, well, I still have a lot more to go, so don't worry. But yeah, I've been live for a little bit. YouTube never notifies anyone, I swear. Oh yeah, I need a steamy sauna because it's cold over here, and I'm always cold. All right. This wound is paired with a gunshot entrance wound of the right temporal scalp described in the paragraph above, and there's an external beveling of the frontal bone at the exit wound defect. So it came out of the forehead. So that makes sense because she had her right side up. I don't get notifications for so many lives. I don't know why. Other injuries. There is a 2.5 centimeter linear abrasion of the right anterior forearm. So that would be the top of the forearm. Forearm. Would linear be like long ways? Like a straight line, but is it straight going across or along? Elongated with nearly parallel sides. Just Jesse. This is Holly's. Just Jesse and Holly's came back. Well, Jesse's was really an exam, and Holly's is the actual like. Jesse didn't get an autopsy; he just got an exam. Holly got an autopsy. So, it's saying a linear abrasion of the right forearm, which would be the top, and there are multiple linear abrasions on the left. A 4.1 centimeter linear abrasion is noted on the left wrist. Oh, there we go. All right, so it sounds like, oh my gosh. What? Maybe he had them each on one. Okay, so I always, in my head, I think there was on the wall by the bed, there was 2 and 2 chains, right? So like it would look like somebody was chaining somebody's two arms and holding them up. But what if he chained one arm per person? And if he could do 2 on the counter, that would be 6 people total. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that. Because the whole time I'm thinking to myself, he would only, maybe he just restrained 3 of them, and the other 3, you know what I mean? But if he restrained each person with one arm, he could restrain them all. He could have tied them all up. And that makes more sense why they died on Saturday, because I thought he had to have had done this separately, because how would he have... I never thought of that either, Lori. I can't believe I never thought of that. Like, because, all right, so I was always thinking, like, he probably killed Holly, Michael, and Tiffany on Friday, because how would he be able to restrain 6 people at once? You know what I mean? And then because they were separated, I thought, maybe he did like 3 and the 3. But now, Celexa and phentermine. And then Brittany, I think, had marijuana and alcohol. I don't know. I've been hearing 2 different things. I've heard nobody had anything in their system, and then later I heard Brittany had marijuana and alcohol. And then Holly had Celexa and phentermine. But that makes so much more sense now that he probably had them all restrained at the same time, and that's why she only has 1 wrist abrasion, because she only has 1 on her left wrist, and then the other one are drag marks. So in a nutshell, the abrasion on the left medial forearm, linear abrasion on the right forearm and the left forearm, and the left thigh and left posterior leg. Sounds like he was dragging her. So she has dragging abrasions and 1 wrist abrasion. So he had everyone. Oh my gosh, that changes everything for me, literally. So they probably were all killed on Saturday. He probably waited till Saturday night. He took them out for ice cream. Everything was fine. And then he waited till Saturday night and restrained all of them with 1 arm. I never thought of that. I can't believe I didn't think of that. So they're drag marks and a wrist mark. Multiple orange-red abrasions are noted of the right anterior and medial forearms, left posterior forearm and hand, and right posterior thigh, which range from 0.2 to 5.5 centimeters. These injuries are consistent with postmortem insect activity. Well, only Brittany, I think, had alcohol. But I don't even know because I've heard 2 different things. You know what I mean? Oh, maybe he could have used a chain. I don't know. Or maybe he was just holding them by their arms and dragging them, and it was scraping on the ground. The left wrist. Oh, I can't believe that. I can't believe I didn't even think of that. The body is open through the customary Y-shaped incision. Subcutaneous fat is normally distributed, moist and bright yellow. The musculature through the chest and abdomen is rubbery maroon and shows no gross abnormality. The sternum is removed from the customary fashion. The organs in the chest abdomen are normal in position. Diaphragms are intact bilaterally. That's terrible, Kayla. That's terrible. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Perianal flora is smooth, glistening. I have no idea what that is. Pericardium is a smooth, glistening, intact membrane. Pericardial activity itself contains a normal amount of clear straw color fluid. Peritoneum. I don't know if any of this is important. The heart, neck organs, thymus, lungs. So there was blood in her lungs, which I've already said. That is consistent with her not dying right away, and I guess like choking on the blood, and that's most definitely why he shot her 3 times. These are just stuff about the organs, but I don't think it's anything important. No traumatic injuries to the genitalia. Everything is intact and normal. I know, Grandma Sherry. Joseph said she didn't get any either. Sorry. YouTube is messing up, man. They're glitching everywhere. Cause of death is gunshot wounds to the head, and the manner of death is homicide. Here is her drug screen. As you can see, phentermine and citalopram, which I'm pretty sure is Celexa. Oh, I already showed Jesse. So that's it. So, all right. Key moments before I go. I'm sorry if you just came in, but I'm going to give you the key moments that we have This is what, now, I am no autopsy expert, so let me just say, this might not be accurate, but this is what I've come up with. This is my interpretation of the autopsy stuff. Jesse, his body was in rigor. He was stiff. He had completed rigor, which is around 12 hours. He would be probably around the 12-hour point, which puts his time of death 3 a.m. Monday morning. So early 3 a.m. Monday morning. Holly. Oh, sorry. Before I finish Jesse, he had a gunshot wound to the mouth, and his toxicology was completely negative. So that's Jesse. They didn't have really any details, like notes, things like that. We love you too, Kayla. His was just, they only did an exam. They didn't give him an autopsy, so it was nothing. Thank you, H-Town. I did my best. Hopefully I made some sense of it. All right, so Holly, she had, okay, let me describe rigor if people don't know what rigor mortis is. Rigor mortis is the stiffening of the muscles when you pass. I think there's some like chemical that gets released that makes the muscles go completely stiff. I'm sure you've found like a dead mouse or something before, and they're like, sometimes they'll be like super stiff. So they go into rigor like after like 2 hours, I think. And rigor takes up to like 12 hours for the whole body to become completely stiff. Then after that, at about 15 hours, your body starts relaxing again. Your muscles start to relax. So 15 hours after death, your body starts to relax. Your eyelids will go, then your jaw will go, then your arms, then your legs, and your toes, okay? Holly was in passing rigor, but she was pretty much almost done. Hi, Grandma Sherry. I'm sending you a little hug emoji too. So Holly was pretty much almost all relaxed, like her jaw, her eyes, her arms, her legs. The only thing that wasn't relaxed was like her toes. So she would be probably close to like 36 hours from her time of death. So her time of death would be like 3:30 a.m. Sunday morning. So like Saturday night into Sunday morning. 3:30 a.m. Sunday morning. Now I'm pretty convinced that based on her injuries, she had abrasions consistent with drag marks, but she had a wrist abrasion, like she was restrained on one wrist. No, I don't think I'm multi-platform streaming. I'm just on YouTube. It might be a glitch in the darn YouTube chat. You know how they are. So Holly had a abrasion on her one wrist, like she was restrained on her one wrist. So that leads me to believe, this whole time I'm thinking, oh my God, he can only restrain 3 people at one time. Like thinking he restrained 2 arms for each person. And then once I seen that she only had 1 mark on her wrist, it dawned on me. He probably had 2 people restrained to the kitchen counter and 4 on the bed. That's 6 people. He could have restrained them all and then took each person one by one outside. It makes so much sense now, because I was thinking they died Friday, because I was like, no way he would have done it in sections. It didn't make sense to me. Oh, with what's it called? Welcome, Kayla. Thanks for becoming a member. No victims' DNA in Brian's apartment or car. Oh. So now it makes more sense that they all died on Saturday, probably like very close in time, which I'm thinking maybe Ivy and Brittany were a little later because of them being SA'd, but my mind is blown because I never considered they each be restrained one wrist at a time. Like each by one wrist, which would make enough restraints for at least 5 people, probably 6. So, she was killed. It sounds like she was on her knees. He held the gun. He was standing a little bit to her left, and he held the gun on like the side of her head and shot back. And then when she was falling to the left, maybe she was leaning more that way, he shot again and hit her in the right side. And then she must have been gurgling on blood because she had blood in her lungs. And it sounds like he walked to the front of her and shot, like she was kind of on her side, and then he walked over to the front and shot her in the left side of the forehead, or no, that wouldn't be in the forehead. It would be, the one was the right. There was one on the left forehead and one on the, all right, so on the left forehead. The one where it was up against her head was the left occipital bone. Then she fell. He grazed her on the right side as she fell, because she went down on her fell down to her right, and her left, and kind of turned to her left, right? Sorry, my eye is like super itchy. And then he walked to the front and shot her in the front of her head. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. All right. So if you can't visualize it, she's on her knees on the ground. He's standing on the left side of her, right? And he's holding the gun on her left temple, but like more towards the front on the temple, not directly on the side. And he's pointing to the back of her head. So like on her temple, around there, pressed up against her head, but more pointing to the back of her head. And then he shoots, and it comes at her occipital bone, which is where the back of your head meets your neck. So that bone down there. So he's on an angle, shooting down and to the left. Then she falls to her left, right? And he shoots again while she's falling. Hits her, I think it would be from behind, or she might have already fell, honestly, because I think he shot from behind and it came out the front. So she falls down on her right side, and her left side is exposed. Her left, but it would be his right. And then while she's there, he shoots. Or was it on the right side? Oh my God, now I'm confusing myself. Yeah, the body's definitely smelling after 36 hours. Hold on, now I feel like I got the wrong side. Let me just double check that. Upper forehead. The left temporal scalp. All right, the left forehead had to be when she was on the ground. The left temporal scalp. Okay, so that's the first one. Hold on. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. It would be his right. So yeah, the right temporal scalp. Yeah, so she falls. She's laying on her right side, which is why the lividity was there. And the left side's exposed, but from, I guess, the medical examiner's point of view, it'd be opposite. And then he shoots her behind the ear and through the forehead, and then I guess she's still gurgling, so he walks to the front of her and then shoots her in her forehead. Sorry, I just had to visualize that. It's confusing because from his view, it's one way, and from her way, it's the other way, and from the medical examiner's point of view, it's another way. So, and then, yeah, her toxicology, she had phentermine, which is it's very close to like an Adderall almost. It's very strong. It can even sometimes show up false positives for amphetamines. It's for weight loss. It's like an upper. They're like these little white pills with blue speckles on them. And then she had Celexa in her system. And yeah, so that's it. She was dragged, and let me be first and storage. I'm on Celexa and Ampute and 2 others, so that's normal. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I came up with. That's what it sounds like to me. I mean, I'm pretty positive about the rigor stuff, that I'm pretty close with that, because I've studied rigor for like days now and had my little chart because I knew that there was going to be a big rigor thing. But the gunshot wound thing, I guess that could be up for interpretation, because I'm not good at that. But I feel like we probably got pretty close. And the abrasions, which are there. It's alive. It's alive, Grandma Sherry. Are you maybe at the beginning and not hold on, let me type it. Alrighty, y'all. Well, I am gonna hop off because it is late and I am hungry. Oh, by the way, I went and saw the new Transformers today. It was so good. Like, I think this might be my favorite. If you guys like Transformers, I highly recommend the new Transformer movie. It was really good. And KJ said I'm watching it too soon. See, it was good. Yeah, it was really good. It was different. It was set like, it was like an origin story, I'll say, but it was so good. It was, yeah, without Shia and Fox, and it was really good. They had a whole new I am on Twitch, but I haven't You're welcome, Amber. I haven't streamed on there in a little bit, and I am on Kick. Like, I set up a Kick account, but I don't know. I have to see if they'll automatically share my videos on the Kick, because I know like Rumble will automatically post my YouTube videos, but I did set up an account for Kick. But I am on Twitch. I was streaming there for a while, then I stopped. I gotta pay StreamYard so I can multi-stream again. I haven't done it in a few weeks. The Guardians movie is so good. Oh, really? I gotta check it out. But yeah. Oh, you mean the sorry. I was thinking of what's it called? Not the Guardians, the Transformers. Yeah, I love all the Transformer movies. But this was like, you could tell it was old because Optimus Prime looks different. Like, he looks like old, like young, you know what I mean? Because it was way back then. But it was Rise of the Beast, so it has like I am Groot. That's what I thought she was talking about, the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. That's what I was like, oh, I love Groot. He's adorable. But yeah, it was so good. It was like, it was a completely new storyline with different people, but they killed it. It was great. You have to go see it. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. It was really good. You'll like it. And yeah. 10/10. Thank you, KK. Message me and message me after the live. All right, 99, y'all. Talk to you later. Oh, I keep checking for the Delphi documents. Oh, is that what you were talking about? Guardians of the Galaxy? I thought you meant like the damn, isn't there like a Transformers movie that's called Guardians or has it in there? I don't know. I was confusing myself. But I keep checking, trying to find these unsealed Delphi documents that the judge said would be out this week, and I cannot find them anywhere. So if anyone finds these, please message me on Facebook. I haven't seen the new one yet. I have to see that. I love all Marvel movies. I love them. Thank you, Linda. Sorry if I confused y'all because I'm sitting here going over it in my own head. So I had to like go through 80,000 different scenarios before I finally came to a conclusion. So I should have kind of studied it before I came on, but I didn't. So y'all had all my confusing thinking out loud. But yeah, once I find these Delphi documents, I will be live about them. I just cannot find them for the life of me. I don't think they've been out yet. But if anyone finds them, message me on my business page. It's just Kate Does Crime on Facebook. Because I can't find them. Oh no, I don't want to cry. Oh, well, I'm going to have to check it out. Is it on Disney Plus? I'm going to go look. All right. Good night, guys. Bye.